paint the background of my art piece. And I'm gonna use this 1-inch flat, okay? It's just a 1-inch flat brush, and I've wet the brush as well. Hello, everybody. I've wet the brush, so I'm gonna start with white, and this is just acrylic white craft paint, and I'm going to cover the top half of my canvas with the white. I'm gonna try not to be too wiggly, because this is my first opportunity to paint on a box standing up, so we'll see how it works. You can't see a little better. So I'm gonna paint white all the way down to about 1.5 inches on this canvas. I got a little much, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit those edges. It's a little excessive. And while that's still wet, I'm gonna come in with a little bit of blue. And what I'm gonna use, I think, is Silver Marlin by Folk Art. It's kind of a deep purpley sky blue. And it's brand new, so I gotta open this sucker. Let me peel that plastic off. And I am going to I'm gonna start over here and just squirt some of this blue on my canvas, because I want it to be darker on this side of the ball and lighter on this side. So we're gonna put our paint on the side we want to be dark. That might have been too much, but we're gonna go for it. So we're gonna, yeah, that was definitely too much. Let me offload some of that. And I'm just gonna bring it over until it's lighter, lighter, lighter. Let me define my line down here real quick. That's where our grass is gonna be. So we're just gonna keep brushing it out until it's covered, but it's darker on one side, lighter on the other. All right. I'm gonna hit those edges again. I'm pretty happy with that. Now I think I wanna add a cloud or two to the sky. Nothing fancy and nothing that you can't do yourself. So what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of white on my palette. I'm just gonna squirt it on there. And I'm gonna take a palette knife and just dip it into the white on the flat side, all right? And I'm just gonna come up here and pat in a little cloud cover. Not too much, just a little something, something here and there. We're not gonna go crazy. So let me show you that up close and personal. So it's no big deal. I just patted on a tiny bit of white to make a little cloud, all right? So I wanna make sure we're still in camera range. Looks good to me. And let's see. Now we're gonna do some grass. And so I'm gonna start with a little bit of a lighter color, which is Folk Art Wild Wasabi. That's a kind of a cool color. And that's by Folk Art. I think I said that. And this is a new bottle too. My craft store, my Hobby Lobby, sorry, can't talk, finally has colors back again. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that to my palette, and I'm also gonna add a little bit of this Fresh Cut Grass by Folk Arts. And I know you can't see my palette, but I'm gonna hold it up in just a second. So now I have 2 greens, the wasabi and the grass color here. And let me get another brush because that one's doity. And we're gonna just add, I want something a little stiff. We're gonna add the light green first. I'm just gonna dip into my light green and I'm gonna come across, that's wiggly. Let's scoot it over. Maybe I can put this here and then hold it. So I'm gonna hit the bottom with the light green. I can go ahead and do this and then come back for time's sake. All the way up to your blue. And then you're gonna come back and just kind of push some up into the blue, just some sprigs of grass. Let me get a little bit more. And then we're gonna define it with our other color. Just some grass poking up out of, y'all hear that? Just some grass poking up out of the greens. All right, so now we're gonna come back. I'm gonna offload that brush, but I'm not gonna wash it. I'm gonna leave it dirty. I'm gonna go into that grass green, which is a little darker, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just gonna pull some of that in and just kind of give it dimension. So I'm using like the side of my brush, but on the tips as well. So it's kind of just using the tips of my bristles. And just kind of go in random directions. Let's get a little more. Just kind of move it around. Just a quick little grassy grass. Had a lot on my brush that time. A little more. This is my first golf piece, so, you know, the ex-husband's probably jealous because he was wanting me to paint something golfy for a long time, and I just never did. So Manly, if you're out there watching, voila. All right, I'm gonna kind of smooth it out down here at the bottom. But I want to have some of those little blades of grass showing. Just tickling on with the tips of my bristles. And while that's wet, I want to try something. I'm gonna just take my my blade, my palette knife blade, and see if I can. I want to see if I can make just some skinny blades, just with the tip of my palette knife with a little paint on it. So let's see. It was a good try. I thought maybe. Oh, there we go. Look, so touch it into the green. Make sure it's on the edge of that palette knife and just pull down. Just a few little blades. It offloads quickly, so. All right. All right, so I am going to need to let that dry just for a few seconds. And while we do that, I'm gonna get a color for my tee. I don't really know what color golf tees are. I know some are white and I've seen some red ones. So I'm going with red, and I think this is too Christmassy red. So I did bring this little orange color too. So I'm gonna kind of mix these two together because I don't want to do a white tee and then a white ball. So I am going to scooch this up, and I am going to mix. I'm going to mix these two colors. This one is primary red. I may just put both colors on my palette and paint with both. This one is called Scarlet. It's an Americana. It's kind of an orangey color. Red, blue, white, yeah. I don't want to do white. Oh, I have seen blue tees before too. What are you thinking? But I think this pop of red and orange is going to be super cool. So those are the colors I'm going to use for the tee. And it's called a tee, right? The little thing you put in the grass. So my grass is still a little wet there, but I'm not sure if I trust my free-handedness. So I think we're gonna go for it. Maybe not. Let me grab a pencil. This is orange. This is a watercolor pencil. I'm just gonna grab and real quick, that's still a little wet. Might be blow it. Ooh, red, aren't those pretty colors? I'm gonna kind of draw just a little T right here in the center. I think we're gonna come up, I don't know, maybe an inch or so, and just see if I can't sketch out a T. So it's kind of like a triangle, right? And then it comes down into the grass. All right, we may have to put some grass over the top of that. So I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna use the bottom of this bottle to trace out my tee or my golf ball because it's perfect size and I can't draw a perfect circle to save my life. So what I'm gonna do is grab another pencil and I'm just gonna set this here and I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go around the bottle to create my ball. Cheat, cheat, cheat. You gotta do what you gotta do. I cannot draw a circle, especially on camera. So find something about the right size. What is that? A little debris. And so I've sketched on the ball as well. So now I think we'll paint the tee first. I'm just gonna grab a brush. This is a number 6 round. So it's kind of like a liner brush. And I think we'll do the orange first and then bring in the red. So let's do the orange. I'm trying to put my hand down. Let's do the orange on one side. We'll bring it down into the grass. We may have to fix our grass. Bring some grass back over the top of it. All right, I'm gonna offload that on my towel to get some of that orange out without washing. Then I'm gonna go into my red. I may have to pull in another color too. We're gonna do this side with the red. It's hard to paint on a box. So we'll pull that down. I didn't do a very good job of that, but so be it. And I think we need something else. So I think I'm gonna add, I rinsed my brush. I'm gonna put a little bit of white on this brush. And while that's wet, I'm gonna just come in with a little bit of white and highlight that one side. So it looks like the sun's coming down on that side. And then on the opposite side, let's grab some brown. I hadn't painted standing up in a billion years and it's very awkward. So this is raw umber. I'm just gonna put a tiny dot because I don't need much. I just wanna put a little bit of a shadow. Well, that's gross. A little bit of a shadow on the other side of the tee. I just squirted out gunk. There we go. I probably should use like a dark burgundy, but we'll see if this works since our paint's wet. So we're just gonna put a little bit of that brown. I'm gonna come over here and just add some shadow. To kind of give it some dimension. That works. That works. Okay. Cool. All right. So now what I'm gonna do, while my green is still wet, is come back in with this again. I'm gonna get into my green. I'm gonna try to come over the top of this with some blades. That works pretty well. That did pretty good. Not bad, eh? Not bad. Let's see. We'll add a few more here and there. That's pretty good. I'm gonna show you that close up. I'm kind of pleased with that. So there's our tee. And our little grass blades around it. Now we gotta paint inside of here white. So I'm gonna grab another brush because this one's dirty and this one's dirty. So I'm gonna get just another small flat brush and we're going to just paint the inside of our golf tee or our golf ball with white. so that we can put glass on it, and then the glass will reflect what's underneath. So we're not gonna do anything special to the ball. We're actually gonna add Starfire glass, and hopefully it'll give the dimension and texture it needs to be recognizable. Almost went in that green. So if you're here hanging out with me and there's somebody in your friends list you think would be interested in hanging out and painting with me this weekend, then please let them know we're here. If there's somebody you think might be interested in joining our membership, we would love if you let them know about us as well. We are the more the merrier kind of group, and we would love to have all you aspiring artists. And you don't have to be, you don't have to be a professional artist to join. We do really step-by-step instructions. We had someone in our Rain Boots Challenge this week who had never painted anything in her life, and she was able to use our tracer and follow direction and paint her rain boots, and they were spectacular. I promise you, if you set mine side by side to hers, that's pretty round, isn't it? If you set mine side by side to hers, you probably wouldn't know which one was which, and she has never painted before, according to her. So I really kind of want to shadow some blue around one side of that ball. And I'll probably mess this up, but I'm gonna put some of that blue back on my little palette and pray I don't make a mess. I'm gonna put it like right here in the middle, just a little drop. And I'm gonna wet my brush again. And I'm gonna put just the corner of my brush in that paint. So it's just paint right on the tippy corner. And then I'm gonna offload just by brushing it back and forth on my palette. And let's see if I can do this without making a mess. So I just wanna add a little bit of a shadow. That's not too bad, not shabby, not too shabby. Because the light's coming in on this side, because that's why I put the white there. So it's gonna be shadowy on this side. So that's not too bad. I didn't do too bad at all. All right, so casting a shadow. Now we just need this to dry, and then we can add glass. So the glass I'm using is called Starfire, and it's perfectly clear. There's no tint or color to it. And we're gonna place it right on the top of our golf ball and resin. And while we're waiting for that, I think I'm gonna grab my brush and clean up my sides a little. So I got a little bit of, I'm gonna put a little bit of white on here. Hey guys. So I'm gonna put a little bit of white and see what a mess I made on the sides. I'm gonna clean that up a little while we're waiting on the front to dry. I'm gonna get a little bit of that blue. Just make sure it looks nice. Same here. Just made a little bit of a hot mess. So we're gonna add some white. I'm a little messy today because I'm working on top of this cardboard box and it's a little awkward. So makes for a little bit of a mess. So we'll do that, and then we'll do this side. Add a little bit of white. And I think we're gonna just do the bottom green. So we'll go into that green. Since it's green down there, we'll add a little green to the bottom instead of the white. That way it's kind of consistent. Voila. Okay, so that's almost dry. I'm gonna rinse this brush. And I'm gonna give this like 3 minutes to dry so I can do resin. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna hang with you upside down. Let me see if I can flip back around. So I'm gonna hang with you and talk to you guys for just about 3 minutes while this dries. So I think this is gonna be super cool, isn't it? Ooh, I don't wanna get my hands in it. So yeah, we're gonna add glass to that golf ball and give it some dimension. And I think it's gonna work out really nicely. So if anybody has any questions about what we're doing here or about our group, and let me get my fingerprint off there. About our group or about what we're doing here or about art or about resin, now is a good time to ask me. I need to fix that. I won't be able to stand it. So it's a good time to ask while we kind of wait on that to dry. Normally I might just come back and do a second live, but I just felt like, you know, it was such a small piece that there was no point in that. So we'll just give it a few seconds to dry. So hello everybody. I'm up in your face, aren't I? I'm gonna back off. Nobody needs to see my crow's feet. You don't want to miss getting in the group with it, but we do have the best group. We do have the best group, and this is one of our workshops that's immediately available to you, as well as this sexy girl. And I can't even tell you, I know some of you are looking at her and thinking, I can never do that, and you're wrong. This is one of the easiest, Shattered Sisters, let them know. That was one of the easiest projects that we have. So here is another one inside the workshop that is immediately available. This is our cute little glass owl. He said, "Whoo." Well, that was so corny, wasn't it? That was off the chain. This is one of my favorites that is immediately available as well. This is our flower box. So we kind of created a rustic flower box look, and then we painted some flowers, and then we added some glass. And we show you how to do this step by step, every step of the way, every little tidbit of everything. We don't leave anything to chance, and you don't have to do anything by yourself. We are there with you the entire way. Let me look at my thing. 1 more minute, I think. So if you are interested in joining, we would love to have you. It's $37 a month. And let me post the link. It's $37 a month, but you can click on this. I have to type it out. I lost it. www.theshattered. I'm terrible. My fat fingers, circle.com. And it wants to split that up for whatever reason. Facebook hates me. Come on, Facebook. Facebook doesn't want me to post it. theshatteredcircle.com. You can click on that link. It'll tell you everything you need to know about our group and what we do, what you can expect, what you're going to get inside that group for $37 a month. I need to take a sip again, and then I think we should be done. We have definitely done much harder stuff like the Princess Bride. I don't think she was really that hard though either, was she? It's the ones that look super hard that are easy, and the ones that look easy sometimes are hard. So let me see what this question was. Let's see. I joined yesterday. I'm wondering, do we have to do all the workshops right away? No, girl. When you join, you do what you want when you want. Nobody's holding you accountable. Nobody is going to be pressuring you. I would encourage you to go in, read the announcements, read the guides, and then go into the Shattered Circle website and click on the Shattered Circle workshops and look at all there is to offer and pick and choose what you want to make. You don't have to make all of them. You don't have to make most of them, and you don't have to make them in any order. They are yours, and you can do with them what you want. You can change them up. You can make them and sell them. The only die-hard rule we have is that you cannot teach my finishes or my workshops to other people for free or for profit. So you can make these pieces and sell them. You can do what pieces you want. You can change the size. There's no obligation to do any particular thing at all. Let's see. Oh, I love you, Diana. Expect to feel like a real artist. Shannon, you are a real artist. So, after you join, we do have what we call a vault, and the vault has 2+ years of workshops inside that vault, and we separated it from our workshops because new people were getting really overwhelmed. Thank you, Gretch. New people were kind of getting overwhelmed with so many workshops. And so we vaulted it. And if you hang out with us and you stay with us inside the membership for 6 months, on your 6-month anniversary, we gift you the vault so that you have access to all those 2 years worth of workshops. So to hang out with us for 6 months at $37 a month, you're going to end up with like almost 3-4 years of membership of art workshops, and that is a huge deal for $37. Okay, so I think we are dry. Looks dry to me. The edges are a little wet, but here is our golf ball. So cute. So I'm going to turn the camera back down, and we are going to add some glass and some glue. Let me grab my glue. We're going to add glass and glue, or glue and glass, and then we're going to do resin. So I'm going to turn this right back down so you can watch what we're doing. My very first workshop was a seahorse, I believe. I think it was the seahorse. I could be wrong. One of the ladies could probably tell us who've been in there. We've had a lot of ladies who've been in there since day one. So I'm going to use my glue, and this is Aleene's clear tacky glue. I'm going to use that to kind of outline my golf ball. Can't talk and glue at the same time. Just to kind of keep my glass where I want it to be. I want to make a good circle, and so I don't want it to go willy-nilly. So I'm going to use the glue to help me keep everything in place where I want it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is dump some glass. I'm going to scoot this over. I'm going to dump some glass in here so I can kind of pick and choose. I don't normally like to do that. I like to just dump glass, but I'm going to pick and choose so that I make sure I get some pieces that are kind of curved on one side and help me form that golf ball, such as this piece, which has that little curve. So we're going to add, got nice curvy pieces. And this will help give the illusion of those ripples in the golf ball too. So hopefully it will. That's not really a great piece. Let me see if I can turn it. Okay, let's see what we got. This is a nice piece. That's gonna work out nicely. We'll add a few little teeny tiny nuggets in where we need to fill. I think this one's pretty good. It's right there. Maybe over here. So let me get a few more. As long as it's a clear glue, it doesn't have to be Aleene's. It's just my favorite. It's never let me down, so I am committed that way. When I find something that doesn't let me down, I try to stick with it. I'm devoted. I'm going to flip this so I can see a little bit. So here's a nice curved piece. And here's a great curved piece. That's great for the bottom. This is going to turn out pretty cool, I think. Let's see what we got here. A little one here. I don't normally, I know I said this already, but I don't normally place my glass because it takes so long, especially on a bigger canvas or a bigger art project. I don't place my glass, but this is kind of a you know, it has to be nice and round and it's, you know, pretty defined. So we're gonna place it and then I'm gonna pile some up on the top as well. So it won't just be this. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger. Let's see, that's not really the right piece. That will work. Okay, so now that we have our outside defined, I'm gonna take a bunch of these smaller pieces. I'm gonna put the larger ones back in, but I'm gonna take some of these smaller pieces and just dump them. I'm gonna pile them up, fill it in. So it's gonna give it that rounded, textury look. Let me put this back down here. That rounded kind of texture look that's gonna give you the shape of the golf ball. So let's stick that in, get some of these little baby pieces. I want it to have some good dimension. I'm picking out some of the bigger pieces so that they don't overpower. A little bit more, and then we're gonna resin. So how many in this live right now? We have 80 people or so watching. How many of you are in the sunflower challenge? So tell me what you thought if you were in the challenge. We finish up tonight, but tell me what you think so far. Especially if it's good. If it's bad, don't tell me. You can just email me. Don't make me cry on live. So I'm just kind of sticking a few little pieces around the edge to give it a little more dimension. And then we're gonna resin, I promise. Promise we're gonna resin. Keep it on task, Cindy. All right, I think we're done. This is super cute. I don't know why it took so long to do one of these. Oh my goodness. That is so stinking cute. I'm gonna hold it up close so you can see. Look how cute that is. Great dimension. So we are gonna mix resin now. And I'm just gonna mix, I don't even really need an ounce. I'm gonna mix a half an ounce, which means I'm gonna mix, let me get my pen. I am going to mix, let's see. I'm gonna mix a 1/4 ounce of, I gotta mark it on my cup because it's see-through and I can't find the line when I'm mixing. So I drew my line at a 1/4 ounce on this cup, and we're gonna draw our line at a 1/4 ounce on this cup, which will give us a 1/2 ounce total of resin, and I think that is gonna be plenty. So that's how small of an amount we're gonna need. So I'm gonna put some gloves on. I'm almost out of gloves. I gotta get my act together. So I'm just using some vinyl gloves, or whatever they're called, nitrile gloves, little blue gloves from Harbor Freights. So we're gonna put our gloves on, and then we are going to mix up some resin. So if I miss your question, I cannot see the camera right now because it's pointing down, but if we miss your question, I promise if nobody answers it, I will come back and answer your question. So I'm gonna put a 1/4 ounce of the part 1 hardener in this cup, and you're gonna pour really slow so that you don't over pour, okay? So don't think you're gonna dump it and fill it all the way to the line, and that's gonna be it, because it's gonna grow, kind of like molasses, and then you're gonna have made more than you wanted to make. So fill it almost to the line, and then let it sit for a second, because it's gonna grow up the cup sides. So that is hardener part A. And now in this other cup, I'm gonna push that back. In this cup, we're gonna mix the resin, which it's a 2-part resin, part A and part B, and we're gonna mix the same amount. This is a 50-50 mix. And do the same thing, go super slow, because it's gonna catch up to, it's gonna catch up to you really quick. And then you'll have to be fighting to equal it out. All right, that's it right there. Okay, so now we're gonna pour one of those into the other. So I know this is dangerous working right here on my art piece, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna dump all of this resin in to the other cup. And you wanna scrape out every bit that you can. Don't leave a bunch behind, because then your measurement will be off and your resin won't dry right. So I'm gonna scrape out every bit I can. I don't know why my mouth isn't working right today. So scrape, 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 get all that resin out. And we'll scrape one more time. And next, what we're gonna do is mix, okay? So I am going to throw that away, and I'm gonna move this camera up just a little bit so I can attempt to read while I mix resin, because we gotta do this for 3 minutes. We're gonna stir and mix those two parts together, scrape your sides, scrape the bottom, so that you get all those two parts intermixed and it dries and cures properly. So if anybody has any questions, I'm gonna scooch down, see if I can do some hip exercises, some squats while we mix for 3 minutes, starting now. And thank you, Shannon. And so I'm ready to answer questions, because I'm just gonna sit here and stir. So, we're super excited. We had almost 1,600 people in our Rain Boots Challenge, and everybody's rain boots and sunflowers are turning out so well. We're so pleased with the some of the art creations we've been seeing. Best place to buy glass, in my opinion, is artshattered.com. I have 22 colors of glass, and I sell it by the pound. So you can go to artshattered.com and look under our glass and supplies and look at the colors that we have available. We'd love to sell you some glass. Oh. So, stir, 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 stir. And don't cut yourself short on this stirring. And don't forget to scrape your sides and scrape the bottom, because it's super important. And if you're using a different resin, hey Karen, if you're using a different resin, you need to follow the directions on that resin. I wouldn't advise to use a different resin, but I can't keep you from doing anything. So make sure you follow the directions on whatever resin you're doing. Shannon, my hip is doing really well, all things considered. I am still have a little bit of muscle pain, but that's because I am, my insurance made me quit going to therapy. They were done paying. And so I'm doing kind of physical therapy on my own, just strengthening those muscles in my hip that I have been neglecting for so long. But other than that, I'm doing really well. Pain-free, yes. So somebody asked something, and it went by so fast. This is an 8x8 canvas. Somebody asked something I felt like was important, and now I can't see it. So if you asked something, let me see. Before that, hang on, I'm trying to find it. Shipping to Canada. We do not ship to Canada for that very reason. 1 pound of glass that costs $6. Thank you, Shannon. 1 pound of glass that is $6 costs over $50 to ship to Canada. So we can't supply our sweet, loving Canadian friends. But if you can get Amazon, or if you have a fire pit place in your town, you can probably get some glass from them. So I'm going to start drizzling right over just this glass first, because you always want to tackle your glass first. So I'm just gonna drizzle over the top until I know it's completely covered and saturated, and it's gonna start running out the edges. This is so cute. Cute, cute. I think I've talked too much this week. I'm a talker. I'm a talker. Okay, I think that's covered pretty well. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna scrape that off, set it here, and I'm just gonna dump the rest around the outside of the glass. I'm gonna set that there, let it dump out, and I am just going to start spreading it with my gloved hand. Don't use, yes, perfect Father's Day gift. Do not use your bare hands ever with this stuff. It is non-hazmat and no VOC, no BPAs, but it's super sticky, and some people can have reactions to resin. I am lucky, I do not, but you don't want your hands in it anyway. It's super sticky and icky. I'm gonna throw this away. Put my stirrer on this plastic because resin does not stick to plastic. So I'm going to spread the resin around because I want to cover my entire canvas. We need to start making some Mother's Day things. So maybe, what's tomorrow, Friday? Maybe tomorrow afternoon we'll come in and make something for Mom. Got ahead of ourselves with this dad thing. I don't know, maybe your moms play golf too. So just spread it around. It self-levels as long as, I'm gonna move this, as long as you have enough resin, it will self-level and fill in. Make sure you have enough. So that literally was a perfect amount, and it was just 1/2 ounce of resin for the entire project. So I am gonna take these gloves off very carefully so I don't splatter it in my face or anywhere else. My hands were sweating. And I am going to hit it with my torch. You need to hit it with a heat source so that, oh, I forgot to turn my camera back down, didn't I? You need to hit it with the heat source so that you pop any bubbles that you incorporated into the resin while you were mixing, but you do not have to use a torch, okay? You can use one of those little creme brulee torches, or you can use, I got a little debris, I wanna get up. You can use a heat gun, like one of those embossing heat guns, or you can use one of those little creme brulee torches, and I've even used a hairdryer in a pinch. So I'm gonna fire up my little torch, and I'm gonna spend 2 seconds, boom, boom, boom. Just heat it up a little bit. Don't let the flame touch your canvas, and don't like focus in on one spot. So that's all it took, was like 5 seconds of heat, and here we go. I'm gonna lift this just a little so I can see what I'm doing. Look at our cute, cute golf ball piece. Is that not adorable? And it's nice and dimensional.